Hey, are you thinking about homeschooling? You need to think about what you're going to do with your kids to get them out of the house, how you're going to socialize them, how they're going to get them involved in other activities. We are going to talk about that coming up next. Hey, welcome back to Molding Our Monkeys. This is our channel where we talk about basically all things homeschooling. We're talking about what it looks like for us to mold the monkeys that God has given us. We're sharing that journey with you, and today we want to talk about what it looks like to get your kids out of the house, to get them involved in other activities, because homeschooling shouldn't just be a thing that you do in your basement and you never leave, right?
Right.
We're not going for that kind of weird, scary stuff. I mean, it's a fun, out in the community, being involved in things type of a life that we're going for when we homeschool our kids. So you need to plan, how are you going to do that? What are the things that you're going to do? What are the activities you're going to get your kids involved in outside of the house? That gives them friends, that socializes them, that keeps the parent who's doing the homeschooling sane, because they're not just locked at home all the time, they're out with other homeschooling families.
Yeah.
So be thinking about what that looks like as you think about and start homeschooling. Some of the resources that are probably available to you and that are at least available to us would be our public library. Stephanie's buddies with a librarian because we get lots of books from the library.
Yep.
We do lots of the extracurricular, the extra stuff that the library has to offer that we get involved in. Maybe your art center has art classes that they do, or there's some kind of an art association or group in your community that gives classes. There could be all kinds of opportunities there for your kids to get involved in other classes. Sports. In our community, we've got like the YMCA that you can get your kids involved in, soccer and baseball, Little League, those kinds of things. We have put our kids in taekwondo, and there's just another area where they're learning from other adults. They're involved in something. They're getting physical muscles training, but also out in the community making friends, those kinds of things. But one of the really big ones that's really cool and more education focused than what we've already talked about just now would be the co-op that we're a part of. We actually were, I shouldn't say we, you did more of it than I did, that's for sure. But we're actually part of a co-op here in our community that has been really cool. And I'm going to let Stephanie share a little bit about what even a co-op is and what that's been like for our kids to be part of.
Yeah. So our co-op is, or a co-op, is a group of homeschool kids and families coming together to do some cooperative learning. Last year we studied some science topics like geology and weather systems and that sort of thing. Next year we're going to do human body. We're going to do some artist studies. We're going to do some Spanish. Things that maybe I don't feel confident in teaching or as confident in teaching my kids. So I'm going to help, or I'm going to get some help from the other parents in the co-op. I may really like the artist study and I'm really into that and I'm excited to prepare those lessons for next year. But the human body kind of scares me. I don't want to do that so much. So I'm going to let somebody else do that.
Who comes from a medical background.
Yes, she does. And our kids love it. It's a great way for our kids to learn from other adults, learn to sit in a group and learn as a group. It's just been a real positive experience for our kids and myself.
Well, and that's one of the things that is big is the social aspect for the kids, but also for you.
Right.
That's the group that when it's time to go to the park,
right,
who does Stephanie call?
Right.
And that's, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to say that's like the core support group.
Right.
As well.
Yeah.
That homeschooling support group. It's really important to have a group of other homeschooling families that are kind of your go-to people, your support group, and maybe you can talk a little bit about what that looks like for you and how you take advantage of that and that kind of stuff. Because you'll call them to go to the park.
Right. They're also our group that will, we'll set up field trips with them. We've gotten to go to the dam and visit, or to tour their electrical facility. We've gone to the zoo with them, and the dairy tour, that was cool. Things that, I may want to take my kids to, but these places might not be as open to doing a tour for the 6 of us,
right.
So finding that group to do some of those things that maybe a classroom would do, build the classroom.
Yeah, when
to
there's
go to those things.
30 or 40
Right.
people going to the whatever it is, the
Right.
science center or the museum or the dam, there's a lot more options as far as tours and those kinds of things.
Right.
So.
And one of the things that I've realized in the last couple of years is, one, at least in our area, there's a lot more homeschoolers than I realized when I started.
Yeah.
And if you kind of can find one, and then they can connect you to another, and then they can connect, and all of a sudden you've got this core group, or you've got the support system that you need. We've found some families that are older, have older kids that are great. They've got wisdom, they've got experience, but they'll admit to you that maybe they don't have the fresh ideas that some of us that are just starting out do. Yeah. So that's been huge. But the other thing that I've realized recently is places like the library, the YMCA, if you ask them, they might be open to helping. Yeah. Somebody mentioned to the Y a couple of years back about maybe doing a sports class. And so now they have homeschool swim and gym, a couple of different sessions throughout the year. They made that program because somebody asked. So if you can't find these things that we're talking about, if your library doesn't offer a homeschool group, which ours doesn't have a specific homeschool group, but they probably would put together one if we asked them to. But people are more willing to say, oh, you have a group of people and you want me to do this? Okay, let's figure this out. So if the opportunity is not knocking at your door, go find it.
Yeah, that networking,
or make it.
That networking really helps you to do that, and because groups like your library, your art center, your YMCA, or those more things that are trying to serve the community, they are looking for groups to serve.
Right.
I mean, it's actually surprising to me how they'll get excited about helping and being part of that.
Well, and when you come to them and say, here's my idea, and they have to, that you just took half their work away from them, they just have to figure out how to make it work, then they're not having to come up with the idea. If you say, here's my idea, let's do this.
Especially like the libraries and those. I think, I'm not 100% sure, but I think their funding, they can apply for more funding and get grants and stuff if they can show that they're, helping this other aspect of the community.
Yep.
So get out there and ask.
Right.
You might be really surprised how many advocates you have that you didn't even know you had.
Yep.
So the big point is get a support system, get a network, get a group of people that you can do life with, do this homeschooling thing with, and watch how much it blesses your life, and how much it changes things. So that's what we wanted to share with you today is get involved, get out of the house, meet other people, meet other homeschooling families, and do some stuff together and watch how helpful that is for your kids. We would love to hear some of your stories of how you've done that. If you're a homeschooling family and you've been a part of a cool co-op or a network of some sort, share those in the comments with us. Tell us about what that looks like. Maybe there's some awesome sports or things that you've done in the community that you could just tell us about, because there's other people that are watching this that would love to hear those ideas as well. Yep. So we would love it if you would subscribe to the channel, if you would like the video, and tell us more about what you're doing to get your kids out of the house. And join us next time as we talk more about molding our monkeys.